Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I'm Javier.
This week, we are looking at a stalwart of wrestling in the 80s and 90s from a variety of different promotions. I think best known, especially to Japanese wrestling fans, as a top gaijin during the All Japan
Yes.
90s. That is Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Oh, yeah, baby. Just an absolute tank of a man. Some would say the Otis before Otis.
True.
He's just such a weird looking guy who is so fucking fun when it comes to wrestling.
A weird, strong, very intense man.
Yes.
On this show, we look at a wrestler through 5 of their most important matches. And for Steve Williams, Dr. Death, that means a variety of different companies and areas. I think none of his matches, there's 2 matches that take place in one company. The rest are from a variety of different promotions. He was all over the place. He also famously was in Brawl for All. It didn't go well for Dr. Death. Go watch our Brawl for All mini-sode on YouTube at Crossbody of Work.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
Don't say we didn't warn you. It's a bad time. Though you will see Bradshaw get his face punched.
And you'll also have a good time with the boys. Like, we're the good time.
That's true. We're the good time. The boxing is a bad time. It's like if you and your friends were go to see Jake Paul box somebody. The boxing's a bad time. But your friends are a good time, and we're your friends.
Although Nate Diaz is also there and about to knock him out. So...
yeah, I really hope that doesn't age like milk. All right, what do you know about Dr. Death Steve Williams other than the fact that he shares a name with another very famous Steve Williams?
Yeah, he's not even the most popular Steve Williams. I know that part.
Of course, Steve Williams being the real name of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, for those who didn't know. But I know that he was a guard, I think, at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Sooner. He started every game in 1982 for the Oklahoma Sooners at right guard. He played in the Fiesta Bowl in 83. He was on the Orange Bowl and Sun Bowl squads of 80 and 90 or 80 and 81 respectively, and played both guard positions at Oklahoma. So he's a boomer Sooner.
And listen, man, when we're talking about powerhouse schools in college football, Oklahoma's up there. They're definitely, if not the top 10, they're in the top 5.
Oklahoma, aside from like bringing out some like interesting and fascinating quarterbacks in the last couple of years, kind of fallen off a little bit. The Big 12 in general kind of fallen off a little bit.
They were known as the transfer schools, and then they got Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams was like, I'm all set with all this. Went to USC with Lincoln Riley, and then they just haven't been able to put it back together since.
It's tough. It's tough out there. Poor Kyler Murray, little football baby, comes into the NFL. It's going to be tough when he gets replaced by Caleb Williams next year. It's going to be really tough.
It's not. It's a tough look for it. It's a bad beat for our Kyler Murray. But also the guy got a $200+ million contract. So
just start streaming Call of Duty. You'll be fine. All right. Dr. Death trained for professional wrestling by Bill Watts and Buddy Landell. Started wrestling in 1982 in Mid-South Wrestling. Our first match we're looking at is from his time, kind of circling the territory system. Specifically, we're at Houston Wrestling, a company we've been to a couple times recently, where some of their stuff is on YouTube, which makes it very nice and easy to find. He is wrestling on December 26, 1986, against who would be his future very famous tag team partner, Bam Bam Terry Gordy.
Oh, yeah. Not the first Bam Bam on this, or not the last Bam Bam on this podcast.
One of those weird nicknames that a couple people get, which I always find strange, is when people like share nicknames. It's like how in any like city, you usually find high schools that have the same mascot.
Yeah. Like, well, not my high school.
No, what were you?
We were the Dragons.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. That's so cool.
And our school colors were black and gold.
God damn it. That's so good. I was a saber, like a saber-toothed tiger. That was not bad.
That's fucking sick, though.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I'll take that.
Yeah, it was not bad. So this match, the thing I want to talk about with this match is I miss, and I can't say I miss because I was never there, but like when I see territory wrestling crowds in the 80s, I wish we were like that still.
Oh, man.
This match, the clip starts with the two like trying to brawl, but there's the like PA announcer, and he is talking on the mic telling people to leave the aisles and return to their seats to see. At one point, he just says, "Sit down," like an annoyed
Do not
teacher.
throw anything, or you will be arrested.
They're going to arrest people because people were chucking shit at Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams.
This is the heat that I need.
Yeah.
Evan. This is the type of shit I'm talking about. I'm going. This is a recent development. Just happened today. I'm on AEW. On July, I believe it's the 19th for the Dynamite and Rampage double taping. You know the deal that they do over there. Because it's the first time that instead of the Aganis, which is the Boston University college arena, instead of running that like they usually do, they're actually going to run the TD Garden, which is where the Celtics Bruins play. They're getting the bigger venue, so the boys got to go to that. So I got my tickets. If it's not like that in that arena when I go there in July, I don't want it.
You're gonna make it like that.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna start chucking shit. I'm trying to hit Chris Jericho on the head with something.
Well, then he'll flame you on Twitter like the very cool dad that he is.
Yeah, but at least, I probably incited a riot or something, so it's fine.
In terms of this match, what were the spots that you liked? Give me, because I think going through all these matches beat by beat, we don't need to do that, but give me a spot you liked in this one.
I have a very specific one right at the beginning. Okay. So Dr. Death hits a snapmare, and then follows the snapmare with a standing headbutt drop. Like he just
just falls over and lands his head on his head, and that's good. That's some good stuff.
Lands his head on his head.
Yeah. The moves from Dr. Death. So I will say that I'm not that familiar with Dr. Death matches. How much have you actually seen Dr. How much have you watched old All Japan?
I've seen a fair bit. It's not I've definitely seen way more Vader and Stan Hansen than I have Dr. Death. But Dr. Death, I mean, because when I think about those, the overseas gaijin type guys from the 80s and 90s, the ones that really stick out to me are Vader and Steve Hansen, who we've covered both of them on this podcast, by the way. Go back and especially the Stan Hansen episode. You're going to want to go listen to some Stan Hansen because we have nothing but praise for the Lariat King.
Plus, his promo is just the best.
It's incredible. Cowboy Stan Hansen's the guy. But Dr. Death, he's I think the thing with Dr. Death is he's not much taller than the other guys in All Japan, but he's definitely beefier. So it's just a different feel for it.
He's 6'1", 285 listed.
Yeah, and he's stiff, but he's not fucking murdering people. He's just a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
Who meshes very well with that kind of Japanese fighting spirit style of that time period.
There are definitely some moves that I picked up in this match from Dr. Death specifically. One being the right hand. He loves the dancing jab, similar to Dusty, but without as much flair, a little more focus, I'd say. That's really, really good. He likes the old elbow drop. Big fan of the elbow drop too.
Yes, a running elbow drop.
Yes, likes that a lot. And again, this is the only thing I don't like about this match. Well, there's two things. One's the finish. We'll get to that. Two, long bear hug spots. Oh.
Now, these are two big boys. Yeah, Terry Gordy's a big man.
That's true.
Long, luscious, flowing blonde hair, but a big man nonetheless. Don't get me wrong. Also, is he the staple of how big you can be while making a long Fabio kind of hair work for you?
That's a good. What is the
recap it?
Yeah.
Is it Terry Gordy? Because I don't know if you could get you gotta think fucking. You put that hair on Wardlow. It's not working for me. But you put it on Chad Gable. The man looks like a goddamn superstar.
It's true. Yeah, I do think there is well, are you talking height? Or are you talking just
I'm talking
size?
Just overall build.
Because Undertaker, it was part of the gimmick, but he's a big guy.
He's a big. Listen, you can't put the Fabio hair on because it just changes on. Undertaker's no longer the Undertaker if you give him the Fabio hair.
He's the Undertaker.
He can't even be mean Mark Calloway. He's model Mark Calloway at that point.
Oh, Maximum Male Models as a 30-year gimmick with a streak sounds fantastic.
Maximum Male Model Mark Calloway.
Yeah. Calloway. All right. The other spot I liked in this match, because it seemed like the most chaotic. You know how people talk about like, oh, well, like we didn't really have child safety in the 80s. Like we just like kids just
Yeah.
ran amok, did whatever. At one point, they're on the outside. Gordy throws Dr. Death into the barricade, and this barricade is the worst barricade in the world. He just fucking lands on people.
Bro, I do not have a second pen, so I'm going to use this stick of Aquaphor. It's literally pretend these are two, like, I don't know what you thinking, like 2-inch poles.
Yeah.
Like 2-inch poles, just like separated by like this much, like shoot distance.
Yeah. That's the whole barricade. So when a giant beefy man like Dr. Death gets thrown into it, he topples over it and into a bunch of unsuspecting Houstonites.
I'm honestly shocked he didn't break it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the finish. So there's a big shoulder tackle by the former football star Dr. Death.
Yes.
He gets the second tackle. Houston's losing their fucking mind, by the way. The crowd's electric this whole match. Shout out to that Houston crowd. They're not Puerto Rico, but they're close. He goes for one more. Gordy spots it and sends him to the outside. And the referee ends up counting both men out. Did you notice the name of the referee?
Is it fucking Hebner?
No. It's just a really good name. His name is Carl Fergie. Fergie, Ferg, gonna love you long time. Oh, snap.
Hit it, Fergie.
Man, I fucking love Fergie. Not when she sings the national anthem, but like when she does like anything else.
I don't think I've ever loved Fergie more than when she sung the national anthem.
I loved the variety of NBA players' like reactions. Some like, I'm a professional, I'm gonna keep it cool. Draymond Green just like giggling his ass off. Like
Karl Anthony Towns will forever be my favorite one of the bunch. My man's he's just going. He doesn't care.
Cat can't talk though because every time he opens his mouth, his voice sounds different.
It's true.
It's a naturally high pitch. He tries to lower it, especially during interviews. I'm like, dude,
hey, what's up?
Hey. So they both get counted out. There's a brawl on the outside. Dr. Death sends Gordy into the ring post, is biting his face.
Yeah.
Gordy avoids a pile driver and heads for the back. Kind of a flat finish, but if you want to see a hot crowd, this is a good match to go watch.
Yeah, if you want to go and watch anything similar to what that Puerto Rico crowd was on last Saturday for Backlash, this is as close as you're going to get without it being spicy.
So Steve Williams would go to WCW in 1987. He started teaming with Terry Gordy in WCW and in All Japan in 1990. Do you know their tag team name?
They had a tag team name?
Oh, it's glorious.
Is it Bobby Roode?
They were called the Miracle Violence Connection. I will say for certain that Japanese wrestling has the greatest English translation tag names of all time. All the time. They do not fuck around.
Just one more time.
A Miracle Violence Connection.
Miracle Violence Connection. That's already Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. Not even like considering it. That like fucking Motor City Machine Guns. Doesn't even matter who else there is because those two are absolutely on there.
Weirdly, I like the New Age Outlaws as a team name. I think it's really good. I don't get it, but it gets people going. It's provocative. All right. Our next match is our second Bam Bam, but this one's Bigelow. We are at the UWF title match at Beach Brawl June 9th, 1991. Now, this is the tournament finals for the Sports Channel Television Championships. Don't you dare turn that dial. Have you heard of the UWF before?
The UWF is an absolute shit show of promotion. Yes, I've heard of the
It's
UWF.
had two separate runs. One in the 80s, and then this is like the rebrand start in the 90s, the Universal Wrestling Federation. This is its only pay-per-view, owned and operated by Herb Abrams.
Yeah.
And as you heard, this was a tournament. So do you know who the other competitors in the tournament were?
I do not.
Let me tell you how they each got to the finals. So Dr. Death beat Nikolai Volkov. He beat Steve Ray, not Stevie Ray, but Steve Ray. Don't know who Steve Ray is. And then got a bye because there was a double countout or some other screwy finish in the other quarter or the other semi. Bam Bam beat Ivan Koloff, Colonel De Beers, and Cactus Jack. Like actual Mick Foley.
Shit.
Yeah. Those are some like actual notable names.
Well, I mean, it's really young Cactus at this point.
Yeah, 1991 Cactus, but still, it's still Cactus Jack.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a big deal. I mean, look, for those who don't know about the UWF, it had a big backing for one show. It's like that one. Do you know about oh my god, what the fuck was the name of it? There was a Donald Trump MMA promotion
No.
that aired one time on ABC here in America. A pay-per-view aired live on ABC. And it was literally one show, and it was built all around Kimbo Slice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was so bad. And then in the main event, Kimbo Slice gets knocked out by some guy who was literally put in there as a replacement to his actual opponent and was like apparently told to take the dive.
Yeah.
And just ended up knocking out Kimbo Slice.
I thought you were going to talk about 5-star wrestling in the UK that just refused to pay its people and like just threw all this money and had like all these events and then just couldn't. It just got no traction.
Also that, I guess.
Other names that were in the tournament, because I know we're all curious. Terry Gordy was in the tournament. Don Morocco was in the tournament. Special Delivery Jones. Afa was in the tournament. Bob Orton Jr. B. Brian Blair was in it. It was like a lot of notable names that they brought in to compete for this illustrious $100,000 television belt. So,
I'm sorry, you said $100,000 television belt?
That's what they called it on the commentary. They said this was a belt worth $100,000.
Yeah, maybe that's how much the fucking promotion was worth. Jesus Christ.
Speaking of commentary, who's on commentary for this one, Javier?
Fucking Bruno Sammartino.
Bruno is on commentary. I did not realize that. I was telling Javier before we started recording. I didn't realize it was Bruno Sammartino until the end. And one of my notes was commentary is not good, but like it's a new promotion, whatever. Like they're figuring it out. And at the end, one of the other commentator goes, "What did you think about that, Bruno?" And I was like, "Bruno? What do you mean, Bruno?" And I'd look, and it's Bruno Sammartino doing a bad job on commentary.
Yeah, no, Bruno was dog water. Admittedly, he wasn't supposed to be very good at this. The guy held the world title belt for, 2,800 days, something like that.
He's not focused on learning the ins and outs of commentary.
Yeah, it's like a fucking crazy ass, thing. And he's like, also like the big thing with Bruno is like Bruno wasn't that charismatic. He was just kind of like an Italian American in New York who was really popular for some reason. So they just like said, "Fuck it, yeah, sure, why not?"
Tough everyman. That was his whole gimmick.
Yeah.
This match, give me your rundown. What do you think?
Okay, so there were some spots. There were spots that I liked about this match. So, like, don't get me wrong. There were some spots here that I really liked about this match. I think overall it felt very clunky to me.
Very, very like stop and start.
Yeah, like these guys just did not have any chemistry with each other whatsoever. And individually, two great performers.
Oh yeah.
Bam Bam is top notch. We've done a Bam Bam episode.
Done a Bam Bam in Haas month. Go listen to it.
Go back, listen to Bam Bam in the archives. But I don't know, man. For some reason, these two guys just didn't have it.
Yeah, the match itself, like there were some spots that just looked really ugly. Like there were some clotheslines that didn't fully connect. Dr. Death does a dropkick at one point that's really bad. Like it's not.
It's not good, man.
Like Bam Bam
really not good.
Struggles to get Williams up for a Samoan drop at one point. Like they can't figure out exactly how. Like they just were clearly on different wavelengths for most of the match.
Yeah. At one point, Bam Bam starts bleeding.
Yeah.
And like right after Bam Bam starts bleeding, Bruno goes on like a little bit of a diatribe about something. I couldn't really tell because he sounded so fucking Italian American. It hurts. Like he sounded like fucking Christopher Moltisanti. You know?
It's a good pull.
Like, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Are you lapsing into a Sopranos thing right now?
I don't understand. I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing here.
There's a big DDT by Bam Bam. He goes up to the top rope, connects with a big splash. Dr. Death kicks out, and that's when I'm like, oh, so Dr. Death is the first champion. That's good. Like once he kicked out of that top rope splash, I'm like, okay, well, so Dr. Death is going to win. Gets a side belly to belly clothesline, hits the Oklahoma Stampede, a big shoulder tackle. He is the precursor to the Pounce.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
you could say that. It's just like he doesn't go through them like I feel like he should. He just kind of stands there.
Yeah. He like lets them bounce off of him almost.
Except they don't bounce off. They just end up taking a back bump.
They do. It's weird. We get a catch power slam by Dr. Death for a 2. He goes for a scoop slam, can't get Bam Bam up and over, runs him into the turnbuckle, does the slam again, pins him, wins the belt. Fun fact, he would be he would never lose the title. He would just forfeit it after leaving the company after a year, and then they had one more champion, and then they were done.
Who's the other champion?
I genuinely do not know.
Anyways, I found the name of the promotion that Donald Trump owned, that MMA one I was thinking of, because it was going to eat me up. You know it's going to eat me up if I don't say it. It's Affliction. Yes, after the clothing line that looked like a knockoff Ed Hardy. Yes, that exact one.
So Dr. Death beat Bam Bam Bigelow for the title the first time. The second time the title was awarded. So it was stripped from him June 19th, 1992, about a year later. It was then re-awarded on September 23rd, 1994, so 2 years later, and won by Sunny Beach, defeating Dr. Feelgood for the title.
I'm sorry, he defeated who?
Dr. Feelgood. That's where we're at. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we are looking at some Dr. Death promos from his UWF run. Back from the break. It is promo time with Dr. Death Steve Williams, and this is not what he's best at. He's really good at lots of other things. Looking like a Pokemon evolution of Randy Savage. He's good at running people over. I'm sure he's pretty good at playing right guard because he did get drafted into the USFL.
Oh.
Yeah.
The USFL, though.
He was selected by the New Jersey Generals. He made it to training camp, was on IR, was activated for a couple of games, but didn't actually stick on, so he decided to join in with wrestling.
Yeah, well, it's just how it be.
You know how I know this promos weren't going to be good? Because I like to look at their championships to see what can I expect looking at the matches. Wrestling Observer Newsletter, he's got the match of the year, which we've covered before. He's got worst on interviews.
What match was it?
I'm pretty sure we've covered this in Masawa. It's him and Johnny Ace versus Masawa and Akiyama.
Yeah, we did cover that.
It slaps. But yeah, he worst on interviews 1988. We're in 1991, so I figured it wouldn't be that much better, and it's fine.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, if you're going into this expecting like a bard, like he's not Stan Hansen.
No,
he's not. He's not. But I think he's somewhere around like Vader levels of promo capabilities. Like Vader wasn't exactly a great promo either.
It's the same style of. It's a very 80s 90s promo. It's a lot of yelling. He also says
voice.
He says a lot to like say.
Hey, I'm gonna hit the Oklahoma Stampede and I'm gonna win.
Like, there's a couple of promos in this clip, so go watch this clip package if you really want, just so you can hear him talk about how he's the champ of Japan, Germany, Russia, and here in the good states, not the good old states, just good states.
The good states. I'm in the good states. Yeah. Where are you over there? Texas? We in Texas, baby.
That's the good states.
Oklahoma.
He does have some elite fits. Like, he's got the black and purple quarter zip jacket.
Brother, I'm saying right now, if you're a wrestler with a quarter zip jacket, I'm in.
Yep, I'm in.
He's
talking about how Bam Bam's challenging him for the title, and he calls Bam Bam a hell of an athlete. But the Big Daddy took it to you. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry?
Oh, so we just go from good old States, all-American boy, hoorah, to Big Daddy? What'd that happen?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
What wrestlers currently are allowed to call themselves Big Daddy?
LA Knight.
Fair.
Immediately comes to the top of the mind.
Roman could. Absolutely could.
Roman can do anything.
Yeah.
I feel like in a very joking way, Chad Gable could call himself Big Daddy.
You know who else could, and I'd be weirdly fine with it? Ricky Starks. You could do it.
Oh, well, he's the what is it? The Slap Daddy.
He's Slap Daddy. Yeah, he's always just to switch the adjective, and he's good.
I think that in a very funny way, Michael Nakazawa could call himself Big Daddy, and it would be okay.
I also feel like somebody like Mercedes Moné could call herself Big Daddy, and
Yeah,
everyone would be like, yeah.
but like in a serious capacity, I would say Otis could call himself Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Maybe like aside from LA Knight, the number one pick for the Big Daddy, Trick Williams in NXT, is absolutely what. I can't do the trick. I'm sorry, I can't do that much of a Southern accent.
Yeah.
Like he's like deep Southern accent. I can't. I there are some things I can't do. That's one of them. But he could absolutely call himself Big Daddy tomorrow.
The only other, no, there's two other good lines in the rest of these promos. One is where he's hurting and he's bleeding, like he's actively bleeding, and he says, "I'm hurting and I'm bleeding." He beat a man who's 400 pounds, and then very deadpan goes, "He's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie." And have you watched New Girl?
Of course, I've seen New Girl.
Give a cookie, got your cookie. Took a cookie, get your cookie.
What? A white man?
No.
And what does security do about it? Nothing. Typical.
I stand. I know I've said this before. There is a world where I turn out like Schmidt. And I think if I didn't have the good friends I did, if I had different friends, I would have turned out like 100%. I would have been like, "Where am I driving moccasins?" He's a tough cookie.
He's a tough cookie.
He also says later he's going to celebrate with his family. Tells the cameraman to get a close-up shot of the title, and then calls the cameraman daddy.
Get a close-up shot of it. I mean, listen. You know, some people could do something like that, calling other people daddy. That's the road, baby. He could call anybody he wants daddy.
That's true. And also, only recently have we as a society ruined the word daddy. So,
well,
yeah.
Listen, daddy, that's just how it's going to be.
That's just the way it's going to go.
My Dusty Rhodes has slowly gotten better, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 3 years. We're working through it.
Someone tell me who he's talking about in the Hard Times promo.
So, he would then go to WCW. So Steve Williams at this point, he's in UWF. He has been in WCW previously in between 87 and 90. He starts in All Japan Wrestling in 1990 as well. And goes to WCW in 1992. He was part of the Battle Bowl event at Starrcade, and he teamed with Sting to defeat Eric Watts and Jushin Liger. If you don't know, Battle Bowl is with like random tag partners. And genuinely, yes. I want a company to do it again. Somebody. It's a good idea.
AEW is right there.
At the start of the event, it was announced that he would be substituting for an injured person in the world title match. Do you know who was injured? Who was missing from the Starrcade 92 main event?
Is it Ric Flair?
It's a Rick, but not Flair. It's Rude.
Shit.
So instead, Dr. Death Steve Williams challenges Ron Simmons for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship at Starrcade 92. Go and listen to our 4th ever episode to learn more about Ron Simmons. We were babies then, but it's still a fantastic episode and a really good deep dive. And our first, it's hard to not call Farouk a superstar. Like, Ron Simmons was a star. Absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer. But
don't worry.
He was at a different level as the other guys we covered in the first couple episodes. So it's a good first, real deep dive into a character we didn't know that well.
Yes. Yeah. And, just so everyone is aware, we are going back and covering more people that we've already covered. These are YouTube exclusive. Go check out the Eddie Guerrero episode we did. It's a good time.
It's a good time. Essentially, if you ever want more content, go to YouTube at Crossbody of Work and check it all out. We've got our Brawl for All episode up there. We've got some of our draft content. There's going to be more draft content coming soon, coming the week that this drops. And there's going to be lots of good content on there, so go and check that out for extra stuff. Plus, every episode of the podcast since we started the YouTube. So this will be episode 5, I think, on there. There you go.
Yeah, 5, 6, somewhere in that number.
What did you think of this world title bout?
This is kind of the definition of big, meaty men slapping meat.
To the point. So, as we all know, Ron Simmons, former Florida State defensive tackle.
Yeah,
of course,
legendary.
Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Oklahoma offensive guard. They're just battling the trenches. It just happens to be without pads. That's what this is.
Yeah, legitimate. Two guys who Oklahoma again, big time school. The fact that he started Even on the offensive line, yes, I understand he's a guard, but that's still like an important position
Yeah.
in football. A very big deal. And then fucking Ron Simmons is like an all time. He's literally a college football Hall of Famer for Florida State. You know, like this is a big deal for a certain subsect of people in the South specifically.
And JR is on commentary, and he actually mentions that they did match up their teams in 2 straight bowl games. Apparently, Oklahoma and Florida State.
Was Ron Simmons in college when?
That's the thing that I don't know for sure.
I don't think Ron Simmons was in college in the early '80s.
What did you think of the match? Tell me all about your favorite spots.
What I did like is at the beginning, Dr. Death extends the hand for a handshake, and they do have an exchange of honor there with a handshake. But man, just fucking Ron Simmons immediately kind of gets like a headlock on. And you just see him like wrenching in his fucking arms, bro. Ron Simmons was a big dude.
Yeah, man. He's huge.
He's fucking huge. His arms are massive.
They did not have 2 straight bowl games, but they did. Their teams did play each other in the 1980 Orange Bowl.
Okay. Ron Simmons was not in college. Could we confirm that? There's no shot he's in college in 80.
Graduated in 1980.
He graduated in 1980.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I thought he was younger.
Ron Simmons is currently 64 years old.
Damn.
Good answer.
They run into each other at one point, and they really build up the whole Simmons was a defensive tackle or nose tackle, whatever the hell they want to say.
Yeah.
And Dr. Death was a guard. They just run into each other one time, straight shoulder to shoulder, the big man spot. And then on the second time, Simmons really is like goading him in. He's like, come on, bro. Like, let's go. Let's do it again. So when Dr. Death charges at him, he just leapfrogs him. And then on the way back, just clotheslines him for a near fall. I thought that was pretty cool.
Probably my favorite spot in this whole match is that there's also a trend that we're going to see with Dr. Death. So I'm skipping quite a bit ahead in the match. He goes for an Oklahoma Stampede after a spine buster. This is actually earlier than that. He hits scoop slam, goes for an Oklahoma Stampede, hits it. Goes for a second one, hits it. Goes for a third one, and Simmons manages to duck out of the way. Later, Simmons hits a spine buster, goes for an Oklahoma Stampede style move of his own, hits a first, hits a second, goes for a third, and Dr. Death ducks. Don't go for a third. Don't spam your moves. You got to diversify.
Especially the Ron Simmons one was annoying because he's doing it to the knee. Because he's targeting the knee. He's not doing a straight shoulder or body to body. He's going for the knees on that one. Like, bro, after the second one, just like do like some sort of hold. I don't know, figure 4 or Boston crab, something.
And he does do a lot of holds. He does there is like a crab spot, or no, that's Williams. He does a lot of holds. He does the crab. He does the figure 4. He also, the most impressive move in this whole thing, like this whole match, hits maybe the cleanest backbreaker of a giant man I've ever seen.
Okay, well, it's a side breaker. It's definitely a side breaker.
Still, it didn't look like he exerted any effort.
No, it's my favorite spot of the match because he deadlifts Ron Simmons. Like, clean deadlifts. There's not really much of a struggle. And then just side breaker. Ron Simmons is a big boy. He has to be all of, at the absolute minimum at this point, Ron Simmons is 280 pounds.
He's a big guy.
Minimum 280 pounds. Like, and he just effortlessly deadlifts him, side breaker. If you want to say it's a backbreaker, sure. But it's definitely a side breaker.
Says backbreaker. I went with JR.
I ain't trusting JR's bitch ass.
That's some anti-Oklahoma slander, and I don't think Dr. Steve Williams would stand for it.
I'm okay with that, daddy.
I like this match. I like the contrast. I do think they had to figure out a way to go about it with the fact that it is technically babyface.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job by Simmons not being stupid. I feel like that's sometimes what they do with babyface matches. Is it like, okay, well, one of the baby faces is going to be like too earnest and too trusting and too stupid, and the other one will get heat that way. Instead, they had Dr. Death just kind of be really fucking vicious. But also, Ron Simmons does some like not cheap shit, but like he outsmarts him a couple of times.
Yeah, as he should, man. It's all in. It's definitely sort of rivalry built up within competition.
Yeah.
Like they're both competing for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and they're just kind of trying to outwit each other, or like do whatever they can, but in a clean way to get there in the end. And it's unfortunate because after that spot you mentioned, where Simmons misses the third attempt at the shoulder tackle and then gets thrown to the outside.
Yeah.
They just kind of fight ringside and then they get counted out.
So yeah, they get counted out and they brawl for so long. And Dr. Death does not stop beating up Ron Simmons that they actually change the result of the match to a DQ, and so Ron Simmons still wins.
Do you want to know why it became a DQ?
Why?
It's not because he wouldn't stop beating his ass. At one point during the ass kicking, Dr. Death hits a top rope like bulldog face buster. He just kind of grabbed him by the back of the head and then dragged him down. WCW rules at this time stipulated that you cannot hit moves off the top rope. So they reversed the decision to DQ Dr. Death because he did a move off of the top rope.
Son of a bitch. It's such a bad idea.
After they had already been counted out.
That's so dumb. Okay, this is a complete sidetrack, but I need you to follow me on this.
Go on.
Seeing these two guys, it reminded me of Sheamus and his like the Celtic Warrior workouts or whatever.
Yes.
Which like 80s and 90s wrestlers would have the best like workout YouTube channel? Like who would be fitness influencer guys? Something like Ron Simmons, I think, would be great at it. I also think Dr. Death would be really good at it too.
I also think like Ron Simmons is probably a little too serious.
He's for the people who like you genuinely want to get shredded. Good, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm just going to show you everything.
Yeah. Man, that's tough.
If you could pick an 80s, 90s wrestler to be like your like workout trainer.
Easy. Surfer Sting.
Oh, that's fair. That's good.
Oh, that's easy. I had to think about it a little bit, but that one's pretty easy. Macho Man, especially if he's like kind of like maxing out a little bit of the gimmick a little.
Get your gains up. Oh yeah.
See, what you want to do here is when you get down, the bar down on the ground, if you want to get a deadlift going off, what you got to do here is you gotta round. You don't want to round out the back. You gotta tuck in the lats, bend down, make sure your butt's out, grab the bar, then you're gonna. Oh yeah!
I knew that was leading to an oh yeah. I knew it was, but I was just happy to go for the ride. I think, Savage, Surfer Sting, Ron Simmons if you actually want to get big, and then Dr. Death I think would be just like a hoot.
You know what would be hilarious? If instead of like a how Sheamus does it, where most of the times it's usually like a back workout or an arm exercise, or on occasion they'll do chest. He just does like fucking yoga. Like
he's like, you gotta get your mind right. Get your body strong. Yoga strong.
See, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna really work on opening ourselves up.
Time to align our chakras. We're gonna take a break. When we get back, we are looking at a hell of a match from All Japan. Back from the break, like I mentioned before, in 1990, that's when Dr. Death started going over to All Japan Wrestling. He started going as, of course, the tag team with Terry Gordy, the Miracle Violent Connection. He established himself on the card, had matches against Giant Baba and Stan Hansen under the Giant. Fun fact, Dr. Death is actually the last wrestler to defeat Andre the Giant. June 5th, 1992.
Wow.
And after the match, Andre shook Dr. Death's hand as a way to pass the torch, which I thought was very interesting. And they became friends. They then started pushing Dr. Death as a main eventer. He beat Akira Taue in a match. He beat Kenta Kobashi in a match. He beat Jun Akiyama in a match. And that's where we head to now, because Dr. Death is now the AJPW, All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown Champion, defending the belt against Kenta Kobashi, September 3rd, 1994. As you can assume, because of the time frame for All Japan, Dr. Death beat Misawa for the title, because that tracks, because that's, of course, it's going to be one of those main guys.
we go back and listen to the entire month of Japanuary. We really go a little bit in depth on this whole especially time period
Yeah.
of All Japan Pro Wrestling and Japanese wrestling in general.
God, so good. This match is the easy selection for Watch of the Week.
It's as easy as it gets. It is 1994 Kenta Kobashi, arguably the absolute peak of powers. Honestly, probably of any wrestler ever. I don't know many guys. Like, if you were to think like how we revere 2013 LeBron, that Miami year where he was crazy, or like 2015 Curry, the unanimous MVP. Like what are what do you think are some of those kind of years for pro wrestlers?
Oh,
Like 2000 Rock,
99 Austin is up there, or like 98
99,
Austin.
98 Austin,
98 Austin.
like 94 Brett.
Yeah, 94 Brett's up there. I think. Oh man, there's a couple Kenny years.
20. Oh, what am I saying? 2016 or no? Yeah, 2016. Is it 2016 or 2017? It might honestly be both. Okada, good lord, an absolute fucking
Also,
menace of a
at
human
least
being.
one of the Bloodline years for Roman.
2020. Let's say 2021.
I'd say
Roman
21.
Reigns.
Yeah, not that I'm sick of it. I think a lot of people are sick of it. I'm not. I think it's fine.
I'm sick of the lack of movement
Yeah,
in it.
It is a little stuck.
But yeah, I'm not tired of it. I do want to see where it goes. I just hurry up and start moving.
I don't remember the year, but whatever year led to the Mega Powers explosion, like that year of Savage.
What would that have been? 88?
Yeah, around there.
89?
Yeah, that's up there too.
11 Punk? 2011 Punk?
Again, I wish I knew my years better, but there's at least one Becky Lynch year where the man year where she was
2018 into 19.
She's just untouchable. It's crazy.
Yes, probably 2019.
Yeah.
2019 Becky. But man, 94 and then followed by 95 was Misawa.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy just how these guys were just honestly, I don't know if we really will see anything like that ever again, where it's just like two legitimately generational talents who are right there at around the same age, the exact same time. It's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like how you kind of would hope it, like if Curry were just like a little older,
It's kind of the way that like for a while we had missed every time that LeBron and KD were supposed to go head to head, that like one of them would be out or something, and it's like, no, we need as many of these as possible because these guys are in their bags respectively,
and these are the two.
Yeah. So again, to go through a 45-minute All Japan match note by note would be exhausting. We'd be here all day. I will say, Dr. Death gets run for long stretches of this match.
Oh man.
Like Kenta is on top.
Yeah. This is as over as someone can get, right? Like it's just not. I don't know. Like there's like this, and I think that the only real level like above this is like CM Punk in his return night on that Rampage episode at AEW, and then like Bad Bunny at Backlash. Like
Bad Bunny
I really. Maybe some of those Austin runs in the 90s and like, I don't know, fuck Hulk Hogan, but like maybe Hogan in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think other than that, it gets more over than the Kenta Kobashi in 94. Yeah. This is insane.
It's insanity. The constant cheers, anything Dr. Death does gets boos, which I feel like you don't usually, like usually they're so, like crowds in Japan are so positive to the guy they want and not necessarily as negative to the guy they don't like. Here they're like, fucking Dr. Death, like I hate that guy because we love Kobashi so much. There are some really good moves. I want to focus on the moves that Dr. Death hits that are really good. His spine buster is pretty good.
Brother. Oh, brother. At one point, I want to mention a spot that under most circumstances gets no love from me because I think it's stupid. But in this instance, they really fucking sold. They had me at the edge of my seat. There's a test of strength spot here that lasts probably like 2 minutes.
It's
I
so
want to say, mind you, I watched this match. I'm not going to say I watched it on normal speed because I did it. It's a 40 fucking minute match. But I did watch it on 1.25.
Mm-hmm.
I was in. I was locked in. I was like, I'm just going to watch this. I'm going to let it ride. The test of strength spot had me like going crazy. Kenta Kobashi is so fucking good.
He's so good. And Dr. Death does a great job in that spot.
Yes, at one point he I think he does it a few times during it, but there's one where there's like the perfect close up on him when he finally gets the advantage and he does like the fucking chest pump.
Yeah.
Because he like brings the hands down. And I'm like, no shit, he's champion.
Yeah. It all makes sense. It all makes sense that he would be a big deal.
His chest in that instance is the only time, aside from like literally 2002 Brock Lesnar, it's the only time I've seen someone's chest do that thing where there's like a bunch of lines of muscle above the muscles. When they do the chest pump, I'm like,
they're making muscles up at that point.
I didn't know he had it like that.
There's also a beautiful couple of brain busters by Dr. Death in here that are really good.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, Kobashi is on top for a large swaths of this match. Like,
yeah, I mean, he counters Oklahoma Stampedes.
Yeah, he keeps doing leg drops to the back of Dr. Death's neck, which is not cool, including one off the top rope. I was like, oh, that's just mean.
I think he honestly hits like 10 or 11 leg drops, maybe even more, throughout the entirety of this match.
He does, at one point later in the match, he goes up top, hits a moonsault for a 2, tries again, nobody's home. And this Dr. Death is favoring his knee on the outside. He gets chopped off the apron. And then Kobashi hits a famouser. I do not care if you want to call it something else. That is Daddy Ass's move, and he hits a fantastic famouser.
It was great. I want to give Dr. Death his props here because at one point he does a crazy overhead slam. And I know what you people are thinking. Javier, wouldn't that just be an overhead belly to belly? And in normal settings, it would be. This one though, it's like Brock. What was that one-legged guy that wrestled Brock Lesnar?
Zach Gowen.
It was like Brock Lesnar just tossing Zach Gowen across the ring.
I unapologetically was cheering for Zach Gowen in that feud, which I think was the point. But I was like 11, and I was like, Brock's a bully. And then he just fucking whips this poor man.
One of my memories of that time period is, like I mentioned, one of my earliest memory in wrestling is still Brock Lesnar going stupid in 2002.
Yep.
And the Zach Gowen thing, I just remember my brother being like cheering on Brock Lesnar just because he's like, this guy's a fucking freak.
Yeah.
Like, look at what he's doing to that guy.
Did you have it where you were like, I don't understand, like, why would you cheer for him? He's being mean.
No, I had zero concept of good and bad at that age.
That's alarming. But I remember going downstairs and seeing Austin, and I asked my brother, I'm like, oh, like, why is he doing that? And it was like, because this is his boss. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be nice to your boss? And my brother's like, yeah, in real life, but in wrestling, no, because he sucks. And I was like, well, why does he suck? And he's like, well, he does mean things. And I was like, then he shouldn't be allowed to run the company, which was a good take. Like 7-year-old me knew, and I saw Vince McMahon once, and I was like, that man shouldn't be in charge of anything. And
look,
I was
man,
right.
It's 20 plus years, but we got there in the end, baby.
Mission accomplished. George Bush gif. All right.
Dude, right after the overhead slam.
Yeah.
There is a military press. Effortlessly presses Kenta Kobashi. Again, Kobashi is like 6'2", like 230 to 50 pounds, somewhere in that range, because he's a beefy guy. He's pretty thick for that time. And he just effortlessly throws him out of the ring.
Yeah.
This man is a menace.
He military press like tosses him out of the ring. It's great.
And he gets from the apron. So when Kobashi finally gets up from the apron, just does a shoulder tackle right off the apron.
Yeah.
Gets him back into the ring. Hits a top rope overhead belly to belly. Picks him up. Cut wrench fucking power bomb. Sit out power bomb.
Yep.
for a near fall. Evan, I fell out of my seat. I can show you. We've had these like these like outdoor kind of chairs
Yeah.
just chilling here because we bought them, but we're too lazy to clean the balcony. So they've just been in the living room.
Fair.
Don't fucking judge me. You
Nope.
people know look at me. Don't judge me, people. You know you're lazy. anyways, anyways, I was sitting at the edge of it already, and they're like rocking like chairs. And when that happened, I like moved forward a little too much. Legit fell out of my seat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Legit.
After that, that's when the moonsault happens for Kobashi and he gets control again. But in the end, so here's the thing, is he does that top rope leg drop that I mentioned.
Yes.
And I wrote, oh, the crowd is excited for a new champ. I did not know how the match ended. That near fall with the top rope leg drop got me too, where I was like, that's not it. Because
Yeah.
he kind of explodes out of the corner, overhead belly to belly. He survives some chops to hit a back suplex, does his back suplex into the turnbuckle, another back suplex for the bridge pin and the win. What a fucking match.
Brother, a barn burner. This is easily the best match we've covered from anyone on this podcast it's probably honestly since that like Ring of Honor episode that we did back in February.
That's fair.
Like
That's
Kenta Kobashi might be the new MVP of this podcast.
I mean, he's pretty good.
It's like him, Brett, and like I don't know who else. John Cena. Like those are probably our three, right? Those are the guys that
Undertaker shows up a lot.
Undertaker as well. Like Undertaker's giving people some good matches, but
So,
man,
Dr. Death would drop the title. This is his only Triple Crown Championship win. He only wins the All Japan Triple Crown Championship once. He has this. This is his only successful defense. He then drops it. He then drops it to Kawada.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
He would become a mainstay Gaijin for years. It was like him, Stan Hansen, Johnny Ace, and Gary Albright, and Vader. Them and Terry Gordy were like the big Gaijin of the time for All Japan Wrestling. God, they were hot. He then go to WWF in 1998, be promised a main event feud, be part of Brawl for All, get his quad torn and his reputation ruined a little bit in the match because it's the shoot fight. Then, like he said, that he was supposed to end up having a feud with Steve Austin. That was the whole point of him coming in. And eventually, when he was recovering, some of the feuds and roles that he was supposed to have ended up going to Triple H. He said that there was an episode of Raw in October of '99 where Triple H attacks JR, and that was when he was Steve Williams was going to come out and like support him, and that never happened. And he was supposed to get a main event push that started on the debut episode of SmackDown. Doesn't it feel like Dr. Death and SmackDown exist in different eras entirely, and there should be no overlap?
There should be no overlap. Those two things should not be equal. I will say I have like this vague memory. Obviously, I didn't see it live. I was a fetus. Not actually, but like I was like 1 or 2 at the time. But I remember him having, I think it was a Heat. There was or Velocity, one of those kind of matches of type shows. They changed names so frequently during that time period. I genuinely don't remember. I think he had one against like Dean Malenko or some shit.
Okay.
And I remember like I think at one point the grainy ass footage was on the internet and I watched it and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like this guy is fighting Dean Malenko and it's like weird and he does not look good at all. He didn't look happy and I was like, just go back to Japan. This was like a few years ago. This is not when I was a child.
Between WWF and his return to All Japan, he went to WCW for a very brief moment where he feuded with Vampiro because Vampiro was feuding with Oklahoma, aka the JR ripoff caricature done by Ed Ferrara.
No.
There was a match at Starrcade 99 where he faced Vampiro, was defeated by disqualification because he shoved Charles Robinson. He would then return to All Japan Pro Wrestling in the year 2000. He was a babyface with like a little bit of an edge at this point, and he said that he was an All Japan loyalist. He was trying to keep the Baba family name. He was extremely close and extremely favored by Giant Baba. Like they had a very close relationship. Plus, this is where he got to do his kind of comeback story upon his injury from Brawl for All. So they played what happened in WWF into All Japan. He would team with Big Van Vader, and that is where our last match goes. It's the two of them against Yoshihiro Takayama and Takao Omori. All Japan TV, February 12th, 2000.
I believe this is a tag tournament that they're running. Like a tournament is happening right now.
A tag league?
Yes. I want to say a tag league is happening.
That would make sense.
Why?
He would. So here's the thing. They would win the World Tag Team Championships, Vader and Dr. Death, 8 days after this.
Yes.
So my guess they would win the tag league and then get it. But yeah, they win the tag belts 8 days later. How many times do you think Dr. Death wins the All Japan World Tag titles?
Ooh, like after this?
Just in total. In his whole career, how many times has he won the World Tag titles?
Because I think he wins it 2 more times with Gary Albright.
So he wins it once with Gary Albright and once with Vader.
Okay, so my guess is 5?
8. So the 2, Vader and Gary Albright, 1 with Johnny Ace, and 5 with Terry Gordy.
Well, when your name is that goddamn good, tell the people what the name is again.
It was the Maximum Violence Connection or something like that. It was great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Miracle Violence Connection, not Maximum. I'm thinking of Maximum Male Models. Damn it, Otis.
Can we have a convergence of those two factions? We get the tag team, the Miracle Violence Connection, and we bring them together, and it's like a meeting. I just want to see that.
Like one of those Pokemon fusions. Yeah, I like that. This match is good. It's not long, but it's good.
Yeah. It's very clear that Takayama and Omori are very much, I don't want to call them young boys, but they're like very early on in their runs. By the way, the only reason I was able to tell these apart is because I Googled one of them. I think it was Omori. And I was like, what does this guy look like? Because they both have like very similar haircuts.
Yep.
They're wearing the
black trunks.
Same black trunks, similar builds. I'm like, well, the only way I'm going to be able to tell them apart is clearly by their face. And the footage is grainy, so that's tough to do as well. But I get a lot of do it.
They get one big spurt of offense. The Japanese team gets one big spurt of offense in the middle, and other than that, it's just Dr. Death and Vader tossing them around.
Yeah, they immediately tried to jump the two hosses. There's a brawl to start. They hit a tandem shoulder block to, I believe it's Takayama, and then fucking Vader murders a man with a back suplex. I believe it's Omori gets murdered with a back suplex, and then Dr. Death comes in, hits a running splash on him, and then Vader hits a running splash on him.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does this match not end? But they didn't go for a pin, and that's why the match did not end.
They just didn't want it to end. I want to talk about the little bit of offense that the other team gets in, because it's honestly pretty good. There's like a neck breaker, which they called like kind of a sling blade variation by, I believe, Omori.
It's Omori.
Yeah. We get like a back suplex clothesline combo. We get double chops. We get double clothesline to Dr. Death. I was like, look at the boys. They're doing things. It does. For those who want
to know, the sling blade is really the only like actual offense. It's not a sling blade. It's not the running, flipping thing. It's literally he has him in one position and he just turns and like kind of brings him down like it's the sling blade.
They also do that back suplex clothesline combo. That was not bad. I was like, okay. Then Vader just divides and conquers on his own. He just separates. He just shoves one out of the ring.
Just a devastating rebound lariat to Omori, a short arm lariat right to him for a near fall. Dr. Death, at one point, it's a top rope shoulder block, and then runs and rocks Yoshihiro. Oh my god, they do get the like you mentioned the tandem lariats to Dr. Death. Yes, Vader decides to murder Takao Omori with a powerbomb ringside.
Mm-hmm.
Vader, by the way, very famous for working stiff.
Yep. I don't envy these boys. I do not.
Gets into the ring, clubs Yoshihiro in the back, and then just brick walls Yoshihiro off of a Irish whip from Dr. Death. Dr. Death gets up, or gets him up, clotheslines lariats the ever loving shit out of this individual. Evan proceed to tell the people how the match ended.
Back suplex, 3 count. Of course they win. They never were in any real danger throughout this entire match. There was no concern. The fans were not drawn in. Like I said, Dr. Death and Vader win the tag belts 8 days later. Steve Williams would continue to wrestle in All Japan until about 2003. He wrestled a couple matches for WWE in 2003, which I found very interesting, against Lance Storm, which is a match I'd like to see.
Were these televised matches?
I don't believe so. He also helped in MLW.
Oh,
He was in MLW for a little bit, won their title in an event, like very interesting stuff. But then in March 2004, he underwent surgery for throat cancer because it had been undetected since about September 2003. He then was declared cancer-free in 2005, was able to come back, made an appearance at the SmackDown brand house show in March 11, 2006 in Louisiana. And then afterwards, he was signed to help train up-and-coming wrestlers, one of which being Jake Hager, fellow Oklahoman.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he even tagged with him briefly in Ohio Valley Wrestling, which I found fascinating.
I really want to see what the dynamics of that team were.
I assume it's Hardcore Holly, Cody Rhodes again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they can work such a similar style.
Oh, in terms of actual wrestling style, yeah. I mean, the personality dynamics, I think I nailed. The wrestling style, very interesting for sure.
Except, Ted DiBiase Jr. isn't there to, break them up.
Yeah. And then it was after the death of longtime rival and friend Mitsuharu Misawa in June 2009 that he made the decision to retire after 27 years. Unfortunately for all of us, Dr. Death's throat cancer eventually returned and worsened. His last public appearance was December 12th, 2009. He would pass away before the end of the year at 49 years old. I now need to share with you this very fascinating thing. Normally on a wrestler's Wikipedia, when it says video games, it's going to say which WWE games they were in. SmackDown versus Raw, or they were downloadable content in 2K19 or whatever.
Yeah.
For Dr. Death, it's very different. And honestly, very cool. The secondary protagonist of a Sega Dreamcast game from 1999 called Blue Stinger is named Captain Dogs Bower and is based on Dr. Death's appearance. He has a similar build. He has the black mullet and the beard. He has a scruffy voice, a goofy/serious personality, is a wrestling fan, has a wrestling shirt in the game, and is known for his strength. And then, in a weird way of making it too close to home, both Williams and Dogs are formerly divorced with a daughter. Did you need that in your game, Blue Stinger? Is that what you needed?
Is this the main character?
It's the secondary protagonist. So
okay.
I thought that was fascinating that they're like,
why did they have to talk about the divorce?
That's why I said Just make him look like Dr. Death. You don't need to be also he's divorced too. It's bro, relax. It's okay.
It's fucked up.
It's kind of fucked up. It's definitely kind of fucked up. A little bit more about Dr. Death and his personal life. He was very known. So in his early All Japan run, he became a born-again Christian and was known for motivational speaking in interviews, and honestly was super well respected in the wrestling world and gave a lot of really good advice. So it's a
good dude.
It's a big loss for the wrestling world. I also mentioned that he had mentioned that Giant Baba was he's very close, even at one point referring to him like his own father. So very difficult, but a really good career and good memorable moments for Dr. Death Steve Williams. And also, we haven't talked about it. Great nickname.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where it came from, but Dr. Death is absolutely incredible. Yeah. Not to be confused with the Peacock series.
Is that good?
I don't know. I just know it has Alec Baldwin in it.
So the answer is no. Okay, that's good.
I don't know, man. I like 30 Rock, and Alec Baldwin's in that.
Yeah, but Alec Baldwin's supposed to be somebody you don't like in that show.
Yeah, but he's in it.
That's true.
I don't know if Alec Baldwin's the protagonist of Dr. Death. He's not. I know he's not Dr. Death in the show.
It's one of the guys from Joshua Jackson is Dr. Death.
Yeah, that's the one.
Now, I loved going back and seeing Dr. Death Steve Williams in doing what he does. I think a great character. I think you knew exactly what you're going to get in terms of the work. I think my favorite thing is you see him doing these like 7-minute matches or whatever, and sometimes you can be like, oh, like that's all good, but can he do it, long term? And then you let him go for 40 minutes with Kobashi, and you're like, oh yeah, you can, okay. Because
Yeah,
sometimes guys don't they can't do that. It's the same way like sprinters can't do marathons. It turns out Dr. Death can do both.
I can't do either.
I can't do either. So
So, some people just can't do them. And no, I mean, I see what you're trying to say. I just, fuck, dude, anything All Japan Pro Wrestling with this guy, whether it's his first run or his later run in 2000s, where he's just really a tag specialist at that point, he is just so fucking good.
Yeah.
I think he is like, just kind of like an all-time kind of dance part, like not the leading man of a match, because he's not. In that match against Kenta Kobashi, he's absolutely not the leading man.
Yeah.
The tag matches that we saw with Misawa when he's with Johnny Ace, he's not, I don't even think he's the leading man of his tag team in that match. But he is just so fucking good. He knows his role. He plays it. He goes above and beyond to play it. And I just absolutely adore Dr. Death Steve Williams. I do.
I
and
wish
he's one
he
of
had
my
more.
legends.
I wish he had a better run in WWF. I wish that he did end up getting that push. I think he would have been really successful in that role. I think he would have been a great foil for Austin. But I get how that terrible Brawl for All idea kind of ruined it for him. Plus, he got injured and didn't come back till January of '99. So it just was off the table by that point.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that WWE had both Dr. Death Steve Williams and Vader and somehow managed to fumble both of them is,
yeah,
it's tough. It's a tough look.
It's weird that it's almost like their bad luck or like their bad handling of Japanese wrestlers extends into guys who are big in Japan. Like
AJ.
That's the thing is AJ is the exception because I'd still say Shinsuke has not been done.
Brock.
Yeah, but Brock was big before he went to Japan.
Still.
Anyways.
Counts.
Next.
John Cena has wrestled in Japan.
Sure. Look at you with your details. Look at you coming at me with facts. You should follow the podcast on YouTube at Crossbody of Work, on Twitter at the same handle, and Instagram, same handle. Nobody else wanted it, so we took it. Ha! Suckers. Javier, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. It's in the link of the main accounts, but the bio is right there.
Follow
Just click
me.
on it. My name's there.
Follow me as well. @Ed7Gomes. ITSEVANGOMES. You should go to fullpressshop.com, cop the merch, support the boys. You should go to fullpresswrestling.com to find the links to this match. Obviously, the Kobashi match is the recommendation this week. Go and watch it. Javier, he's hawking the merch if you're watching on YouTube. It's all good stuff. Next week, we are continuing to go back in time. Not going modern quite yet. A guy that shows up, I feel like, on so many wrestling cards. You see his name, he's been there, and I cannot name 3 matches.
I can. Just say War Games. I don't have to specify which one.
That's fair. We are looking at the career of Nikita Koloff.
Nikita.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have seen... I can't even say. I mean, outside of the War Games matches, I've seen no Nikita Koloff matches, so I don't even know that much about Nikita.
Up in something else once upon a time, like that I was watching, I was like, "Oh, Nikita Koloff, cool!" Like I've heard that name. I can't say I've ever gone out to search it up myself, so I'm excited to dive in and see what it's all about. Similar to how we did Dr. Death this week, but that is it for this week's episode on Dr. Death. But it's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, we are going to discuss ticket buying. Yes, whether you go to an event or whatever the deal is. Listen, we're not sponsored yet, so I don't have to hawk anything. So I could just tell you stuff from my experience. Typically for me, Ticketmaster is kind of the way to go, especially if you're in America, just because I feel like yes, the service fees are crazy, other stuff, but at least they I do feel like the Ticketmaster fees and all that jazz are one, you can actually see how much everything costs because they have a filter to turn on with the fees and everything. But two, their ticket prices, while a little bit more expensive, get offset by the fact that their fees and stuff are not as expensive as things, other places. But two, if you're in America, bro, Game Time. Just use Game Time. Wait until the day of, especially if you're just going to like a Red Sox game or some shit like that. Game Time is great. I went to the game 1 of the Celtics 76er series that I fucking hate myself for. And how did I go? I got like $80 tickets. Like, yeah, it was the nosebleeds, but it's the fucking playoffs. Who cares? It's $80, whatever.
What the vibe?
Yeah, I was with the people. And I did it on Game Time. So Game Time's also a good one. There's a bunch of other different places, SeatGeek, all these other stuff. They're good. Honestly, it just kind of depends on where you live. I know that if you especially live here in Massachusetts, I would go the Ticketmaster route. I know Ticketmaster is what I used, especially like more, not me specifically, but my buddy used to get the AW tickets that we purchased earlier. But Game Time is great for sporting events. As far as concerts and stuff, again, I'd go Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is where I obviously had to get the Taylor Swift tickets for the concert that I'm going to. But
I'm so excited for the Taylor Swift debrief. You don't even know. So that's going to be the life advice in 2 weeks' time because you'll have gone.
I'm spoiling it right now. There is not going to be a real life advice segment in 2 weeks. It's just going to be me and Evan talking for 20 minutes about the Eras tour.
So get ready for that. Get ready for Nikita Koloff next week. Thanks for joining us as we talked about Dr. Death. We will talk to you later.
Bye.